want to talk about the health and social care sector in that who knows, again, because I want this to be interactive, who knows the amount of money which changes hands within the health and social care sector? Not within social care only, health and social care. Who knows what amount of money changes hands, or what is the budget of money in the UK? Just hazard a guess. 30 billion? 20 billion? 100 million? No. Okay, so I will be talking about the health care business. Most people know I talk about Ofsted and CQC and the like, but like we have said, we are cooking and we are preparing a good package. You can't know. I saw one guy who was at the airport wearing a T-shirt saying which was written, I don't need Google. My wife knows it all. So for me, I can't know everything. So we have got specialists of operating Ofsted, specialists in CQC, specialists in training, and with specialist solicitors, specialist insurance. We bring all of us together to become one. But my plea here is, of all the money which circulates in this industry, there is money which will never come to your table, not because that money is not available. It's because we might not know how to access it. Yeah, true. I saw one video again about some ships which were crossing a road. I don't know where it was, one of the motorway. The first ship which, I think they jumped the fence, then it jumped on the middle of the motorway. All of them which were following, they were just, but there was nothing there because the first one is jumped. This is exactly what we do. I'm sorry, I will focus on people of African and ethnic origin. Why? Because of 3/4 of you. That is our problem. When someone does something, we want to do it. Because so and so has done dom care, everyone is doing dom care. Because so and so has done supported living or children, everyone. So when you talk of health and social care now, people think health means dom care. Health, it means children's services. But there are a lot of other health-related businesses which we are not tapping into because we are not actually identifying those businesses as if they are health. Sometimes we don't even know. But in the interest of time, let me just show you. None of you was very close. 292 billion pounds.
208.
Well, you said 270, sorry, I didn't hear. There's someone who said 100 million, isn't it? Or 100 billion. Yes. That amount of money changes hands. And from all of you who are here, you need to see, if you are already running a business, what percentage of that is coming and dropping into your account? Not. But remember, 0.1 of 200 billion is a lot of money. So with that amount of money, it's not all the money which is being spent in the healthcare. Because my topic here is for you, I want you to see the picture of the healthcare industry so that you open your eyes a bit and not only focus on dom care, CQC, Ofsted. There are a lot of other industries where you might be aware of it, but you are not classifying it. So if we look, I don't know whether you can see my picture here, it's not very clear. There are categories of money. These are in billions. As you can see, this is the 292, almost the 300 billion. But there has been a decrease, obviously. This time was when COVID recovery and all that was happening. But what I want you to see from that figure is we have got domiciliary, we've got supported, we've got transport, we've got medical, we have got so many other divisions, but how many divisions are we focusing on ourselves? Most likely for the people who are here, it's either dom care or supported living or children. We have got services for transport, which we talked about last time, and I'm glad to see she's not here. Both of them. We've got two people whom we have recently registered CQC for their transport, non-emergency. It was after my presentation in Liverpool. Some people came and said, you never thought about it. Tell us. We've taken them through, so they are in the process of being registered because they are now branching from the usual dom care. If you are in our groups, you would see we were posting all the tenders for non-emergency transport. There is so much demand. But are we utilizing this knowledge? All we are focusing on is the sector that we know. But my idea is let's be encompassing within the healthcare sector so that you don't just focus, because when people do dom care or supported living, if they are adults, or children and supported accommodation, if they are children's home, if they don't do these four things, they think they are not doing healthcare. But there is so much support for the healthcare industry, whereby you yourselves, you are able to be secondary suppliers of other services rather than just your dom care. Okay. So, if you can see from those figures, very few, if any, none of the people who are here are operating nursing homes. None of you are operating retirement homes. All that is part of the business. But one of the issues might be the barriers to entry. The amount of money required for you to set a nursing home, we do understand the amount of money, but here I'm talking of the opportunities. And as you can see, I think we have got some people who are setting up or running children's services. You can see that money which was allocated, an uplift, because these are annual figures. So there is 600 million allocated social care uplift, of which 90 went to children's homes. But how many people here actually run children's homes? What are the barriers? Why are we not having this? Is it knowledge? Or we are just like the sheep, because the first person has jumped, we know the person has done one, and we are not expanding into these areas. So the opportunities are there. If you see that 81% of the cost there is about hospital care, and we've got 13.8% of private clients. So 13.8 of private spending, it's a lot of money. But how do you get your hands to private money? It's about knowing where to get these customers. During these rounds of sessions, I was talking to some people who are already CQC registered. They've been operating for 6 months. They don't have a client. They are posting on Facebook. They are posting on LinkedIn. And up to now, they are saying we don't have a client. It's not their fault. Because we have talked again, for those whom we work with, we said, I've got my status thing, which I'm always putting on my status, which says social media, posting on social media is not marketing. Just because you've posted on Facebook or LinkedIn, that's not marketing. And when I ask people, how come you are saying you are marketing? Oh yes, I post on Facebook every day. Yes, you are posting, but you're not marketing. You need to have a strategy of, so the money within the sector, health, I think it comes after defense or some of those expenditures. It's an industry health where it will never go dry. Political parties come in and come out of power because of health issues, how they manage it. So it is the backbone of the society. But it can only remain the backbone of the society. And if you really look into that budget, I shared the statistics last time, that 80% of the revenue within this sector is being accessed by less than 10% of companies. There are big companies who are taking a big chunk of it. But I'll come back to what Blue Hector talked about with the SPPP. Systems and processes are what is making us not succeed in whichever areas we are. As a result, bigger boys, whom I can call bigger boys, they are getting the bigger pie because they've got the systems in place. So for us to be part and parcel of this 200 billion, we need the systems. We need the growth. Just like what Andrew was talking about, I visit around and audit, and we see exactly the same things. Exactly the same things. 5, 6, 7. Last week I was in an area where I saw exactly what you were saying. They are subscribed to our own company policies. They are subscribed to QCS. They are subscribed to RONCare. All these are policy companies. Why? They have been told by so and so these policies are good. They ditch what they have, they subscribe again. They ditch what they have, they subscribe again. But like an iPhone, it is not the phone which gives you the value. It's how you use the system. So here I am talking about the healthcare sector so that we have got a bigger grasp that as long as we are going to be dominating and focusing on the minority projects which we are focusing on, there are bigger ventures. Even the emergency transport, not even the non-emergency, the ambulance services. If you remember, I don't know whether you read the news, there was so much shortage in the southeast of ambulances. In such, they ended up waiting for 6 hours for an ambulance to come from somewhere, like from Manchester, to go to London because of the shortages. But do we think about these opportunities? Because maybe once we see the blue lights and we close, do we know more? Are we able to explore? Because also we don't want a situation where you just dive into something where you have got no knowledge. So my point here is, let's look at the opportunities within the healthcare sector. Let's understand the functioning, the funding, the various sources, so that from here you go and think, oh, okay, I was focusing on this, but I never focused. Because of this 200 billion, only 30 billion is in the social care. So where are the other billions going? The pharmaceuticals, the medicals, radiography, but servicing various healthcare sectors. So we need to think deeper. If we then begin to specialize, let's do and put systems in place whereby we are the leaders. As long as we don't have systems and we don't have means of monitoring them, we don't have means of staying on top. Why we do what we do, I don't know how many events you go, but the concept behind the Health and Social Care Providers Network, like Wilson has said, we are not doing this for money. If we do it for money, then it might not be viable. What we do it for is to bring people together. What we do it for is, like now, we have Andrew, you know Rumbi, she frequently comes here, but this time she's not here. But because we are creating a network, we have got a new person, maybe for the first time, Shupi, If you stand up so that people can know you. She is also a solicitor. So she deals with immigration and everything the way also Andrew does.
Can I say something?
Yes.
When I was still training, 2009, 2010-ish, around that period, she mentored me for 6 months. Wow. So she was part of my mentors.
Oh, thank you very much. You can see now, I personally didn't know that you know each other. But what we are creating here, we are not monopolizing a system. We are not going to say Rumbi Vunzawabaya is a solicitor, so we don't want other solicitors to come. No. 292 billion is so much. Even himself and with Shupi, they will never finish the business in this, because employers, we are going to flout the laws every day. So you will be full in your book. You will be full in your book. Rumbi will be full. We can go. You use your own other preferred suppliers. So that's why we are saying all the people who are we deal with CQC with Ofsted. Sultana is there. She deals with CQC. That's why we are inviting. Come. The cake is big. But the only difference is all the people who are here, they are verified. We are not the only ones, but what I know, if you go to Blue Hector and something happens with their delivery, they are accountable to the organization because they are a member. But if you find someone else out there, the consequences are also out there. But the good thing is we also have lawyers. We also have lawyers now as part of us. We might actually institute their services to deal with these service providers. So if any of the service providers here promises things which they don't deliver, tell us, because they are vetted. There's no one who just comes here and begins to talk to people. This is the system we want to create. For those who came series 1, 2, 3, we didn't have insurance. Yes, Dr. Matthew here, he then came. I think this will be the second or third time. But we are adding, and we are working as well, because I was talking to the lady there. She's from Kenya. This is also what we want to break within the healthcare sector, where it is Africanized and Zimbabweanized. We don't want that. This shouldn't be a Zimbabwean event. It should be a national. This again shouldn't be about color. By virtue of people being here, there hasn't been any segregation. I think it's again the issue of the sheep which I'm talking about, because that is the only, these are the only platforms we know. And we need to make sure we continue being part of the 292 billion. I don't even want a lot of it. I just want one. Then I leave 191 to others. You know, let's not be greedy. Yes. So, the domiciliary care market, overstretched on paper. If we are saying there is so much money, how come there are so many providers who don't have contracts? How come? Yes?
The big boys.
The big boys, that's number one. And the local, I was on South End on C last week. When I was talking to my client, we were in the office. They are running a children's service. They've got 2 children's homes, so they are registering the 3rd one. Whilst I was there, social workers were actually phoning them to say, can you accelerate the registration of your 3rd house? Because we have got more than 25 young people who are out of the county whom they want back. But you will be surprised in Southern-on-Sea. There are people, there are providers there who have houses which are empty. Do you know why that is happening? It's 1, association, 2, marketing. those already have got 2 homes in that area, so they've been proven to be able to support. And I'm not a social worker myself, but I know if there are people who don't want a headache, they are social workers. If you are a provider and you are effective, they'll come to you. Yeah. I think Nyasha might talk about it. I don't know how he does it, but he runs quite a number of homes, more than 20 of them. But I think from what I have been seeing around, we need to deliver. We need to have these kinds of events. We then create the association, because one of the agendas which we are working on is, again, the perception of that anything run by a minority is inferior. But sometimes that is true, because we need to be upping our game so that personally, I need us to move away from this victim mentality. Let our work talk for itself. I'm in West Sussex. I've got one of my former, where I used to work, where I worked for 14 years, a company called Ashcroft Care Service. They were recruiting internationally. I was working with them. They recruited over 60 people from over various countries. The owner of the company is my actual very good friend. When we were talking, he is local British. He was not even aware. He says, I'm surprised. How is that people make other people pay to come here? The funding is there, but it is the system which is corrupt. It's the system. While the money is there, we are not accessing it. If you can see, for those, if you are setting up a nursing home or a residential, a nursing home especially, it's not viable to have a nursing home, a general nursing home with 15 or 10 people. You need a bigger establishment, which is more capital, which is why 10% of the providers are actually the ones who are getting 80% of the money, because they've got the systems, they've got the capacity. They can have a house or a home and go for 6 months paying when it is under occupancy. For you to make profit in a nursing home, you need anything between 87 and 93% occupancy, just like hotels. Hotels, they've got time where they make loss, but over a year, their occupancy should be anything from 87 to 93%, then they'll be profitable. But if you're a small provider, you don't have that capacity to absorb the loss for the next 6 months. So what I'm saying, the funding is there. If you look, supply of home care appliance, it's a healthcare. The digital technology, what are you supplying? So let's move from just being the consumers of these things to becoming the providers, but we need to open our eyes, because there is 1.3 billion there, especially for those who are doing home care facilities and things to help people living in their own homes so that they are independent. What part, besides delivering the actual care, what other part are we playing? That's why I'm talking more about us diverting, moving from dom care to supported living and supported accommodation. If you can see the categories which we have, I don't know how many people are running supported living here or who intend to run supported living. How many people you intend or you are running? You are running supported accommodation. And dom care, how many? Quite a number of dom care, right? And children's services, how many? 1. Right. So when you see these statistics, dom care, quite a number, because the barriers to entry, they are low. I was talking to the people here that when you have and you are setting up your children's home, Nyasha will talk about it, or you can ask him. You can do all the setups and go for 6 months without anyone occupying that house. But the landlord or the mortgage owner needs their money. So are you able to sustain that? So That's where I will talk about quickly about, if you can see, 600 million, because this presentation is about just showing you where the money is and how you are able to access it. But there is one thing, tender opportunities there. There are more than 50 different types of tenders which you can supply to NHS. But how many of these are we on? How many services are we saying we are available within the healthcare sector to support the NHS? Because there is so much money in it. So are we focusing on the right categories of businesses before we start saying we are segregated? Some of these areas we are not even going because we don't even know them. If we don't know, what do? We have to learn. That's why we come here. That's why we now have Valor Care and Enlightening Care, who have just registered their transport services. Prior to our Liverpool meeting, they knew nothing about the transport. But now, they are in the process of registering. Now, opportunities, they are now seeing the opportunities, and they are actually saying CQC is delaying to register us because their local authorities are now asking them. Do you see? So you might be spending so much effort because dom care is overcrowded, the system is dead. Did you consider the transport services? Private transport. And sometimes you also, I think I have got my brother-in-law here who has worked in the prison services. There are serious opportunities to provide healthcare-related service to the prison services. But those tenders, you don't find them on ProActis. So you need also to know where to find these opportunities. So the healthcare sector is big. We've got the children's home there. We've got, like, I'm just rushing through because I think I'm left with four minutes. Innovative transport expenditure. One of the issues which I want us to really look at is partnership, because it is difficult. Most local authorities are now requiring, if you are in Devon or some of those local authorities, they are now actually asking people to form partnerships so that they participate in the sourcing process. So be open where you are amongst ourselves. Let's create the partnerships so that we put our resources together. But like anything else, like I have said, I attend a church in my area. I've been attending my church for 20 years. But one thing I can tell you, from that church which I attend, 20 years ago, it was one. From that church, now we've got 7 churches. People coming from the church and forming their own. Coming from, and I'm saying, which God are we praying? This is exactly what then happens in business. It's all about you. You don't want to bring resources, you become one. You are more powerful. When you are one, you are more powerful. I will talk about this issue until people are tired. Every place I go, I talk about it. I come from Crawley. Crawley has got a very big Muslim community, but it has got one mosque. The whole of Crawley, one mosque. Friday, you want to go to the airport, forget. Between 1 and 2, they have gone to the mosque because they control all the taxis. At that point, money is not important to them. They go and do their praise, their religion. But what I am saying is these people have come together. What is wrong with us, especially the Pentecostal churches? Mushrooming everywhere. But you end up seeing that this is no longer about the church. It's about me. So that behavior doesn't start and stop there. It transcends into business. That's why we don't want to partner. We want people just to see me alone. So that me alone syndrome, when we are here, we begin to say we are being segregated. But go to the big boys we are talking about. These big boys are a number of people who have combined their resources and under one name, which is exactly what we are saying. Health and Social Care Providers Network, if I haven't talked to Margaret, if we just go on the company's house and just add the financial values of our members, it runs into millions. But those millions don't translate into the benefits which we want within the healthcare sector. So what I'm simply saying to you here, let's think a bit wider, more than and beyond just the healthcare, the agencies, those who have been running agencies, they are feeling the effect of COS. If you have been running, I know people who have been running agencies, their hours, one lady, a company called Optimum Care for You is our customer. It's not breaking confidentiality. They used to supply around 4,000 hours a week. It has dropped to less than 1,000. Why? Because of, so also, are we investing in the right healthcare? At the moment, it's not the wisest of things to do because of what has even been explained here about having so many people because of companies whose licenses have been revoked and all that. So there is so much work. So for you to be focusing your energy in setting up an employment agency, at this moment, it might not be one of the best strategies. But there is also capacity, there is. And NHS has also made their conditions in such a way that it's no longer lucrative for staff to go via the agency. So we need to be understanding the landscape of our industry before we jump into whether people are phoning, do you know anyone? Which is, again, do you know anyone? In this country, on most cases, you don't need to know anyone. Before I quickly go on the next point, which I will talk about tenders. People come to me, we write tenders. People come to me, I want to write a tender for Oxford. Do you know anyone in Oxford? You don't need to know anyone to win a tender. You just need to write a winning tender. That's it. So again, that mentality of you need to know someone for someone to... Let's give value where it is due. Let's have the opportunity to grow our business, and also the investment which has been talked, Chenge talked about the investment, a very important topic. Are we investing in our own selves and in our own knowledge? I've talked about this many times for those who come. We do supply policies and procedures for Ofsted and CQC registered companies. We require and we always see our customers who are phoning us looking for a document which they already have on the platform. Because they never have time. They don't read. They don't take time to read. They only take time to sign things only when things go wrong. That's when they will see. I'm seeing a petition against the citation. Citation has done nothing wrong. It bound you into a 7-year contract. You signed and you knew it. And then when you are deep down, that's when you say, they bound me into a 7-year contract. We want to protest against, and most likely it will take a very long time because you were given the opportunity, you were never forced to sign it, the terms were clear, you are going contract 1 to 7 years, you knew it. Suddenly, because you are bound, no customer, and you have 7 years to pay, that becomes an unfair contract now. So some of these things, let's utilize our solicitors to look at our documents before we sign them, so that they will see that this is structured well, this is not structured well. So the agency landscape, for me, at the moment, it's even going to be worse, as I think Andrew and Blue Hector talked about the new minimum wage and where it is going. It's going to be even more difficult for you to explore agents because people are not going to be opting for that. By people, I mean providers. So we need to be very careful in what we actually do. Right. I'm not going to teach. I've got a PDF which I've been sharing about writing a winning tender. But I wanted to talk really about tender writing so that you understand that there are 2 ways. You can either learn to write a tender, which wins, or you commission people to write tenders for you. 2 things. If you have got time, I encourage you to learn. But it's a long process. If you are someone who is urgently needing to get contracts, if you don't have the expertise, find someone who can write a winning tender. But I will share separately for those, I think everyone here, you have left your emails at the door there. I will share the actual tender writing process, the whole of it, the PDF. We'll just email to all the people who have attended here, because it is a section on its own. And given the 40 minutes, I'm already 5 minutes out of my time. I don't want to, my focus today has been on us looking deeper beyond just thinking of these 2-3 sectors which we are always working on. And also to say, please, just like what the previous presenters have said, if you are not able to do something, calculate and see whether you need an efficient accounting system for the accountant to do your books, or you want to do it yourself. You want to represent yourself on issues, or you want to look for a solicitor. You want to do your own in-house training, or you want to do external. Let's balance things as providers to know when and how to commission services. And tendering is an expensive and long process. So on average, tenders is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000. It's not easy money. But sometimes you are actually thinking you are losing 7,000 by winning, which is one of the issues I have against when people inquire, even to solicitors, I think is always the issue. How much is it? You tell them 2,000 is too expensive. Against what? How can you say 5,000 is expensive when you are winning 100,000 contract? Wherever have you invested 5,000 and you get 100,000 back? You are actually getting it on the cheap. Yeah. But it's about the perception, appreciation, and knowledge. So within this, if ever there's anything my presentation I would want you to take back, is the opportunities are there. Explore these opportunities. I will also be sending, for those who would want even this presentation, because it's bigger, I think there are 4 more slides left, but in the interest of time, tendering is about bidding. But also, I can assure you, for those who are on contracts, being on a framework does not assure you to have clients. There are a lot of people who wrote tenders for here, but they haven't even got a single contract. So with this in mind, I don't know if there's anyone with a question in relation to the sector. I wanted us to open our minds, ladies and gentlemen, that the sector is there for us to take. No one is going to bring it to you. But sometimes, don't bet on an injured horse. When you know that this horse is injured and you continue flogging it, hoping it will perform. There are times when you see, you know what, the dom care is not for me. Let me explore. But invest in knowing. Don't also just jump into transport. Understand what is involved. What are the requirements? Are you ready for it? If you want to be a service provider to other services for NHS, go onto the NHS platform. You will see there are so many opportunities there where you don't need the CQC registration to be a supplier to NHS if what you're supplying is not regulated. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this will open your minds and think beyond just your day-to-day. For those who are still starting and deciding, do your homework, invest in yourself, learn. And when you learn, don't create a business which just depends on you, which functions when you are there. You need to have a business and systems which when you are not there, they still function. As long as a business stops because you are not there, you don't have a business yet. So you need to put systems, train your carers. Don't be afraid to give authority to your staff. Let them try, let them have effect so that you are able. We have got people who are here, by here I don't mean this room, who have not had a holiday for the past 3 years because they are afraid to spend a week away from their company. Why? Because the system depends on them. Yes, so let's work on having new systems. Let's work on supporting each other. When people come to you, and let's get the spirit of knowing the value. There are things which are worth paying. In our group, I'm always seeing people saying, can someone send me an employment contract in a WhatsApp group? You get that contract, and that is where those things which have been talked here about. You are just using someone's contract which has not been vetted. You are just using someone's policy which you have not even read yourself. So sometimes invest in these things so that you get the appropriate support, and then that credibility will come to us, rather than every time we are just seeing victim mentality. I personally want to have this gone, so that we fail on our own without every time thinking we are segregated. We are not segregated. Our systems segregate ourselves. There's a tender which we did for Greenwich. It had said, if your income is not above 750,000 a year, you don't qualify for this tender. But below they said, unless you form a consortium. That person's income was not 750. I said, look for another person. You join, but you can't find them. Because one of them was saying, I contacted them and they said, you want to consume my company. So you can't win. Thank you very much.